Hey you guys, what's up? It's Atil back here for another video. It's been a while since I made a video. I've just been kind of busy with the coaching business and just kind of busy with life in general. So I did a poll on my Instagram because that's where I post most of my content. It's a lot more short form, but I'm using YouTube, as I've said in some of my previous videos, to kind of get out some of that longer form content where I can kind of ramble and I can spend, 15, 20, even 30 minutes talking about a subject that you can't do on Instagram just because you don't get that much time to speak on Instagram. So I did a poll recently to see what I should talk about next. I have a video on calves. It's just kind of sitting. I haven't filmed it or anything yet. I just have it sitting. I have everything ready for it. But I did a poll, and over calves, people chose for me to break down one of my programs. And so what I'm going to break down is a program that I use to gain 2 inches on my arms. I went from 14-inch arms to 16-inch arms. So let me preface some of that first. So I am bulking currently, so I've added fat to my arms as well. It's not a ton of fat, it's still decently lean, but I have gained some body fat. So keep in mind some of that measurement is going to come from body fat, as anytime whenever you bulk in your natural, you're going to gain some fat inevitably. But it is still added inches to my arm, and it hasn't been all fat. If you take a look at what I used to look like versus what I look like now, you can definitely see the difference in that I've added some overall mass, but I focused on arms just because as a taller lifter, that is something that is really important to me, is adding more mass to your appendages, your thighs, your calves, your forearms, your arms, just because that's where most of my body is, because I'm mostly arms and legs. I have a very short torso. So that's where it's most important to add most of that mass. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the program that added that mass to me. And it is a 5-day program. I'm going to leave it in the description for sure. I might put it up on the screen right now so that way I can kind of show it to you, but I'm going to definitely leave it in the description so that way, or I may pin a comment down below so that way you guys can see the entire program and you guys can run this program. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down this program, and I'm actually going to talk about some things that I may actually change with the program now after I made this program 2 years ago, maybe it was a year and a half ago. And I'm going to kind of break it down and kind of say some of the things that I would change with it as well now. So, and that's after running one of Natural Hypertrophy's program where I've made some changes to it as well. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down, and we'll just essentially go ahead and we'll get started with it now. So, this is a 5-day program. It is an upper lower arms program because I wanted to specifically focus on arms while adding overall mass. And so, I had an extra arm day in there. So, I have an upper A, a lower A, an upper B, a lower B, and a arm day. So the very first thing that we do, because back was also a focus in it, because my chest grows relatively easily, I don't have to put a lot of focus in it. I feel that that is the same for a lot of people. It's kind of easier to grow your chest than it is your back. Your back is something that you don't see, so it's kind of harder to grow because you can't feel it a lot. It's very easy to row or do pull downs or anything, pull ups with your arms instead of your actually using your back muscles. So the very first exercise that we have is an incline row. That's one of my preferred exercises. I haven't done it in a while, but that is something that I prefer. So taking a incline bench, setting it up to get to where you are at a very slight incline, but then you're just rowing the dumbbells from there. I felt like it was very easy, and I do kind of a neutral grip with it. I feel like it was very easy to kind of get it and pull it and row it low enough to where you're feeling your lats working that. I also use straps most of the time, if not every time, whenever I do it, just because then that's just kind of taking the forearms out of the equation to where I can focus specifically on pulling with my back. In this program, it doesn't look like it. No, I don't think I did supersets other than arms supersets with it. One thing that I've been doing here recently, and one thing with Natural Hypertrophy's program, and I was doing it some before I was running that, was doing supersets on essentially everything, and even some giant sets. So doing some giant sets where there were 3 exercises that were superset together. So for example, in the program that I'm doing now, I do a shoulder press, I do a bent over rear delt fly, and then I do a tricep or a skull crusher. So I have a exercise in there to where my triceps are getting a break, and then I take a rest after that and then get back into the shoulders. So one thing that I would probably change right off the bat is supersetting a lot of these exercises, just because it does save you time. And if you're doing a back exercise and then a chest exercise, or a back exercise and a shoulder exercise, or even a back exercise and a tricep exercise, you're not going to lose basically any strength after you get used to it. After a few weeks or a week or two, you're not going to lose essentially any strength between it. And even if you are losing some strength, if you're doing bodybuilding and your main goal, like me, is to gain muscle mass, you don't care as much for strength. The very little amount of strength that you're going to lose between doing those supersets isn't a lot. It's not going to get you, this doesn't count as cardio, but it does get you some more cardiovascular work in, just because you're constantly taking those exercises. If I'm only doing 2 exercises, back to back and they're two different body parts, I essentially take no rest between them because my rest is doing the other exercise. So I would do an incline row with dumbbells, and then after that I would do my 3 to 5 sets depending. I usually never go to 5 sets. I might every once in a blue moon, but I would usually always do 3 to 4 sets with it. After that, I would do a dumbbell pullover. I haven't done dumbbell pullovers as well in a very long time, but that is an exercise I really enjoy. It was very easy to feel lats depending on how you do it. There's a way to do it to where you feel mostly your chest involvement in it. I can kind of break down that some if you guys are interested in that. But I would do a dumbbell pullover for 3 to 4 sets. On my incline row, I would do 6 to 10 reps because that was kind of my more strength focused, kind of going for more weight than going for the reps on it. And then on the pullover, I would do 8 to 12 reps. That's something where I was kind of going for more reps, going for more of that. The pump doesn't matter at all, but where you can kind of feel the exercise a little bit more. You can say that you're kind of going for the pump, but ultimately what you're going for is making sure you're using a good enough weight that you're challenging yourself. The pump really doesn't matter. It'll kind of get in the way a lot of the times because when you start getting a pump, you kind of have to slow down the exercise just because it's that feeling. It's not a feeling of it's not a feeling of pain. It's just a feeling of kind of disruption to where it's hard to continue to push on the exercise if you're getting a good pump. And after my upper exercises for my back, I would do the ones for my chest. So I would do a chest press machine. For a while, I wasn't doing any. I was kind of having some shoulder issues. There was not a lot of pain, but I was kind of giving my shoulders a rest. So I would do a chest press machine at the gym. And this is something where I was doing these exercises at the gym. I would do three or two exercises or two workouts at the gym, and then I would do 3 of them at home because I have all this home gym equipment. So I do the chest press machine for 8 to 12 reps, mostly focusing on making sure that I'm moving the weight, using a challenging weight as well. And then after that, or I would do that for 8 to 12 reps. After that, I would do an incline machine chest press for 3 to 4 sets for 10 to 15 reps to kind of work on getting some more reps in. So that way I'm using a variety of rep ranges, as you guys can see, for all of that. All of those for that day, every exercise that I did for each body part was a different rep range. So that way I was trying to get in a variety of reps, kind of getting in some lower reps, kind of getting in some higher reps, because both of those are good for strength and both of those are good for overall muscle growth. People think higher reps is best for muscle growth, but you can still get a lot of the 4, 5, 6, 7 reps for muscle growth as well, because that's going to push your strength, which is going to help you lift more weight, even whenever you're using a lighter weight to get more hypertrophy benefits from it. So after I would do all the exercises for my chest and back, then I would superset. I would do a lateral raise with dumbbells and then a face pull. So I would do that from anywhere from 3 to 5 sets of 10 to 15 for the lateral raises. And then I would do face pulls from 3 to 5 sets, 10 to 15 reps. And with that, same thing, I would superset them. So I was just going back and forth from doing them, not taking a lot of break. Lateral raises and face pulls have a little bit of carryover, but not a ton. You're using your side delts a little bit during your face pulls, but it's such a small body part that it wasn't actually really affecting, and I could still push, I could still make progress, use heavier weights every few weeks. So that was not something that I felt was necessary to break apart and do individually. And if you guys can, this is a good thing to talk about. If you guys can superset an exercise, I would superset it. It's going to save you some time in the gym. And eventually once you're using more sets, it may not save you a ton of time, but you're still able to do more work. This morning, I'm going to do 2 workouts today. I don't necessarily recommend doing that, but I'm going to do a workout with a friend later. I went in and did chest this morning, and then I'm going to go do back and arms with him. So I did my chest exercises this morning, and I didn't superset anything, and I did save about 15 to 20 minutes of not supersetting things, but I did less work in the gym than I'm usually used to. And at the very end, I would do my arm exercises, which is bicep curls with a cable for 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps, and overhead tricep extension with a cable, 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. Another thing that I would probably change, just looking at it now, is I'd maybe put some of, at the very beginning, whenever I was doing some of those incline rows and some of those pullovers, is maybe putting a tricep exercise kind of there at the beginning, so that way my triceps were a little bit more fresh to do it. Since my focus was arms, I could have been doing a little bit of the arm exercises a little bit sooner in the workout whenever I was a lot more fresh. I would have felt a lot better. I would have been able to use a slightly heavier weight. At that time, I was doing the arm day, and so that was kind of whenever I was focusing more on specifically the arms and going in there and only hitting arms. So we're going to do the lower A now. Another thing that I was kind of focused on was my hamstrings. I always did my leg days. Maybe at the beginning of my training career, I didn't do a ton of focusing on legs, but I still did my leg workouts. Now I'm trying to focus more and do my legs, just because that's another body part. My thighs are very long. I have very long femurs. So trying to fill out that muscle entirely, including the hamstrings, including the quads as well. So I was focusing more on this part of my hamstrings just because quads are not too hard to grow. As long as you're putting them in there and you're pushing yourself, they're going to grow. Even if you're not doing a ton of sets, they're going to grow relatively easily because you're able to use such a heavier amount of weight than you can with your upper body. So for Romanian, the first thing I would do is Romanian deadlifts, 3 sets, 6 to 10 reps. I would usually do 2 to 3 sets because for me, at least, some people may be a little bit different, but I don't need a ton of sets for my hamstrings. I would do, this is whenever I was focusing on doing a little bit of heavier weight for my hamstrings. After that, doing the Romanian deadlifts, I would do a seated leg curl. And another thing, doing my Romanian deadlifts, I could have superset something. And now what I do is I can superset, I can maybe do some shrugs whenever I'm doing my Romanian deadlifts. I could maybe do some forearm work whenever I'm doing my Romanian deadlifts because I'm using straps with them. And so it's not going to affect my Romanian deadlifts at all. And that's just another aspect of being able to kind of do a little bit more and saving some time, because during this exercise or during this program at all, I wasn't doing, I don't think any, I might have to, we'll see a little bit as we get a little bit further down. I don't think I was doing any forearm isolation, which is something now that I'm focusing on because my forearms are very long. I have very long arms, and so my forearms take up a lot of that space, and so I need to try and fill those out as well. So this one was in the gym as well, so I was able to do seated leg curls, 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, going for a little bit of a higher rep range. After that is whenever I would get my leg or my quad work in. I would do leg press from 3 to 5 sets, 10 to 15 reps. I would do leg extensions for 3 to 5 sets, 15 to 20 reps. And as I said previously, I would not usually ever go to 5 sets. Maybe if I was just trying to go to absolute failure and really tire myself out. I don't recommend necessarily doing that a lot though, because you have more workouts in that week to do, and you can always, usually if you're able to go to 5 sets, you could probably add a little bit of weight, maybe do an extra rep or two here. Some people, though, will be able to do those 5 sets consistently. But to me, every time I would go to 5 sets, it was just more of me getting more sore and I've not being able to, I don't want to say I wasn't able to progress, but me doing 5 sets, I was just so tired by the time I was doing 5 sets because I was putting so much into those 3 to 4 sets that I was doing that I just didn't necessarily get a ton out of doing 5 sets. And then the very last thing that I would do that was superset was I would do some neck curls for 3 to 5 sets, 15 to 20 reps. And now what I do is I only do 3 sets of neck curls. I just spread it across the week to where I'm doing 9 sets total. And then I would do my ab work, which is a decline crunch from 3 to 5 sets, 8 to 12 reps. Same thing with that. No, never usually going to 5 sets, really essentially ever going to 3 to 5 sets. So after that upper lower day, I would do my arm day. I would do, and this is something that I would change. Let me go through the arm day and I'll just tell you what I would change. I would do a giant set. I would do lateral raises with the dumbbells, 3 to 6 sets, 15 to 20 reps. Hammer curl with the dumbbells, 3 to 6 sets, 15 to 20 reps, or skull crushers, dumbbells, 3 to 6 sets, 15 to 20 reps. At the very end of that, I would do some standing calf raises with some dumbbells, 3 to 6 sets, 15 to 20 reps. So what I would change with this and what I've been doing now, just based on natural hypertrophy's program, and I've got a lot of insight on it, and I've kind of gained a lot more from it, just knowledge wise, even just from actual regular gym gains. I would add some compound exercises in there. At this point, what I was doing, my arm day was kind of a go for higher reps, and a lot of my arm exercises that I did during these upper lower days were anywhere from 8 to 12 reps, or I don't think at that time, no, I didn't do any 6 to 10 reps, but I would do a lot more higher reps on my arm day because I wasn't doing any higher reps on my other days. So that's whenever I'd get in. And that's one reason that I would occasionally go to 5 sets is because I was doing higher reps. And so I was able to kind of add in another set here and there whenever I was trying to progress, or I knew I was going to go up in weight the next week. I would throw in an extra set to kind of try and, throw in that 5th set. I don't think I ever put or did 6 sets. I do a lot more auto regulation now to where I feel the best whenever I don't go to 5 or 6 sets. I put 6 sets in there though, just in case I was able to do enough to go to that. But doing the giant set was very good because doing lateral raises, hammer curls, skull crushers, none of those affected each other at all. There's not even a really about it. It didn't affect each other at all. I was able to do all those, and essentially by the time I was done with my skull crushers, I was ready to do a lateral raise without it affecting anything. But now what I would do is I would definitely kind of throw some compounds in there. I was kind of testing it out to see if I could just do a lot of volume on this arm day since my arms were pretty refreshed. After this arm day, I would take a rest day, and so I would take a rest day before I did my next upper. So I was not worried about at all being too fatigued or being too sore for that. And so I was able to do a few extra sets, but I would change that arm day a lot. I would throw some compounds in there. My calf days now still, they stay on leg days. I used to do them with my upper days just because I was able to do them, either superset them or do them at the very end where my legs weren't tired at all. And so I was able to put a lot of focus into it. But now what I do with calves is I do them at the beginning of my workout on my leg days. I superset them with something, and I'm actually able to progress on it a little bit more. And my legs, even though my legs are tired from doing, I might do squats and then I might do standing leg raises. I'm still able to do it because it's at the very beginning of the workout, and so I'm not as tired as if I was putting them at the very end of a leg day, the very end of an arm day, the very end of an upper body day, where I put so much focus and so much energy into the beginning of the workout. So I would change that arm day essentially completely, just because I was doing a lot of reps, which is fine. It's fine to get some 15, 20 reps in there, but I would add some compound exercises where I was doing something a little bit heavier before going to any of the higher reps. So now we're getting to the end of the program. I would do my upper B. I would do the overhead press with a barbell. I would do this workout at home, and so I only have this handful of home gym equipment to do. It was before I had my lat pull down on my row machine, and so none of that's actually in this program at all. So I would be able to implement some of that into this part of the program now. No supersets at the beginning here. That's again something that I would change with it. I would do an overhead barbell press for 3 to 5 sets, 6 to 10 reps, a bench press with the barbell, 3 to 5 sets, 6 to 10 reps. Doing these one after another, the overhead press is going to affect the barbell press some, but I was not too worried about my chest. As I said before, my chest doesn't have a ton of trouble growing, and I was trying to catch my back up. And so doing the overhead press was a lot better to focus on shoulders. If I was going to be anything, I'd rather be a little bit arm dominant than torso dominant, of having my back bigger or my chest bigger. I'd rather have my arms a little bit bigger, so I didn't care to do the overhead press and kind of get more shoulder gains than I was getting chest gains. I did both of those actually in a lower rep range, which now I'll probably do the bench press a little bit of a higher rep range since I did overhead press so heavy, kind of give myself a little bit of time to back up. And then I would do my pull-ups. I would do 3 to 5 sets, 3 to 5 sets, 6 to 10 reps. Actually, in the program here, I have 3 to 5 reps, 6 to 10 reps. Should have been sets. I would do those weighted, so that way I was getting a lot more weight out of it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, my mindset behind it was on my upper B day. This was kind of more of a heavier workout just overall, other than the single arm T-bar row, which was 3 to 5 sets, 10 to 15 reps. That was the one exercise I was going for more reps overall. But I would I would change that up. Overhead press, I could do some curls, superset some curls with that, some forearm work. Bench press, I could have done something else with that, maybe some face pulls at that same time, doing a superset there. After all those first, for my kind of torso exercises, my back and my chest, I would do a superset of barbell shrugs, and I would do face pulls. I could have switched that up a little bit at the very beginning of the workout. Whenever I was doing overhead press, I could have done some shrugs. When I was doing my bench press, I could have done those shrugs. The face pulls, like I said earlier, I could have supersetted those with something else. The shrugs were 3 to 6 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Face pulls, 3 to 6 sets, 15 to 20 reps. And then my last superset for that day was my arms. So doing a spider curl with dumbbells. I haven't done spider curls in a while, but I do really enjoy that exercise as well. So that will be something at some point that I implement back into my program, just because I do enjoy that. I'm giving them a break now because I do enjoy that exercise. I know I enjoy it. And so whenever I'm able to do that again, whenever I get tired of an exercise and I just basically don't like doing it anymore. Right now I'm doing doing a lot of single arm curls. And so if I stop liking that, or if I stop feeling like I'm able to progress on that and I consistently can't progress on that, then I can throw spider curls back in there. Don't only do a program where you like every exercise, because whenever you need to switch something out, either injury or you get a tweak here, or you just get tired of your program, if you don't have anything that you like to put in there, then you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure of, now I've got to do an exercise that I don't like. You should put some exercises in there that you're kind of about, so that way you can give them a good full few months of doing an exercise that you don't like, and then you may end up turning around and liking it. So keep that in mind. That's why I'm not doing spider curls right now, is because I know I like that exercise. I can always implement that later whenever I get tired of it, or whenever I need to implement something just because of, wear and tear, or, my elbows start to hurt from doing regular curls. My forearms are kind of getting a lot of work in whenever they shouldn't be doing regular curls, whatever the problems may be. I would do a skull crusher with a barbell for 3 to 6 sets. This was part of the last superset with spider curls, 3 to 6 sets, 10 to 15 reps. So I would definitely change that superset up some to where I could have implemented something a little bit earlier in the workout with overhead press or bench press for the biceps, or doing a little bit of pull-ups, single arm T-bar row. I could have implemented something for triceps to do as a superset. And at the very end, I would do the standing calf raise with my dumbbells for 3 to 6 sets, 10 to 15 reps. I would change that as well. I'd put the calves somewhere, probably on a leg day or even on an arm day, just a little bit sooner, so that was a lot more fresh for it. I was able to do it. I'm a lot taller than average, and so being able to do calves whenever I am a lot more fresh is a lot better for me. It's hard for my calves to grow. It's possible. It's just hard. I need to put a lot of focus into it if I really want to see some growth. So keep that in mind if you're a taller lifter, or if you're somebody that isn't gifted genetically and you really have to work on your calves. Doing them sometimes sooner in the workout whenever you're a lot more fresh is going to be a lot better for you. And then now we have our last day, the lower B workout. I would do barbell, and this one was at home as well. I would do barbell squat 3 to 5 sets, 6 to 10 reps. After that, I would do Bulgarian split squats, 3 to 5 sets, 8 to 12 reps with each leg. Again, with the barbell squat, I would throw something else in there, whether it was calves. I could do some forearm work with barbell squats. I could do some more neck curls, something like that. That does not affect my barbell squat at all. Bulgarian split squats. If you guys don't do Bulgarians, if you've never done Bulgarians, give them a try. They're really hard. Whenever I wasn't able to back squat, just because I was going through a lot of lower back pain, I was trying to figure out how I could still work out without annoying my back or hurting my back. I couldn't do deadlifts. I could do can't think of what it is, back extensions. I could do back extensions, but I could not pick up a barbell off the ground without it hurting my lower back at all. Kind of finally gotten over that now. It's been a few months. I haven't talked about it a ton because I don't want to scare people into, oh, he did this exercise and that's what hurt his back. There's something that I was doing that was not correct, or maybe it was just from work. I do not a very physically intensive job, but I'm on my legs a lot at work, and so maybe just that adding together and me not paying enough attention to my body and I did not pay enough or close enough attention to be able to say, okay, I need to change it up before the pain gets worse. I was like, okay, well, we'll keep doing this until the pain gets so bad that I can't do it. That's not the right way to look at it. I should have switched an exercise. I should have paid more attention to my training to be able to switch it out way before that ever came into place. That way I could have continued to use those other exercises sooner. I spent about 7 months without being able to do a deadlift, without being able to do a Romanian deadlift. And I'm just now to the point where I can kind of start doing some of those exercises again, because I was essentially dumb and I didn't look at my training and say, okay, let's change this now before it really becomes a problem later. I didn't even actually go through an actual injury where I hurt my lower back. I started to get some lower back pain, and I just didn't pay it any mind until I couldn't do those exercises, which is first time that's ever happened to me. We all get tweaks and injuries here and there, but I wasn't doing a squat and hurt my lower back. I wasn't doing a deadlift and hurt my lower back. I was getting some pain and I was not paying it enough attention I would put a belt on or this or that. And that's something else that you guys will come across in your training career just over time, is listen to your body, whatever it's telling you. I now know, and it can change later, that I could do, if I was getting some lower back pain, I could do Bulgarian split squats, even weighted Bulgarian split squats, and it did not hurt my lower back at all. I could do single leg Romanian deadlifts, but I couldn't do regular Romanian deadlifts. So there's probably an exercise out there that you guys can do that isn't going to affect another part of your body or hurt whatever's hurting. I was doing squats last week and it was hurting my knees some, just because I hadn't done it in a while. I hadn't done it nearly as heavy as I'm working back up in weight and able to do it now. But whenever I went to do Bulgarian split squats, it was completely fine. So just the way that your body's positioned, the way that you're doing an exercise, it always varies. And so you will be able to probably find an exercise that you can do that is hurting or is giving you some tweaks, some injuries. You should be able to find another exercise to do. So I now know, very long point to make, I now know that if I'm getting some lower back pain, I can probably just put in Bulgarian split squats in there to kind of subside and let that back pain go away to where I can get back into squats. The ultimate thing I should be trying to find, though, is what caused that back pain, so that way I don't do that again. So now what I'm working on is making sure that I'm doing my back extensions. I'm doing a lot of other things to move my back in other positions to where it's going to be strong enough to where I shouldn't go through that pain again. But at some point, you're going to go through, either an actual injury or some type of pain where you're going to have to figure out your workouts. You can do what a lot of people do and just stop working out until that subsides, but you're going to lose your progress. Being able to move every day and be able to move normally and do normal functions is more important than ever working out. But if you plan to work out for the long run and you still want to make progress, you're going to have to find ways to work around an injury or this or that. If you tear your quad off your leg, you will have to take some time, and that is something that I would always listen to a doctor over some bro science guy or some guy like me on the internet that works out. I would always listen to them first. But if you're going through a slight tweak, you should be able to find a workaround And that's going to help you figure out your body a little bit better as well. So I would always keep that in mind. There's probably some way to work around it, and you should probably try and find a workaround if you have an injury or anything like that that isn't major. If you have a major injury, go to the doctor, see what they say to do, and do what they say to do, because they are obviously a lot smarter than me. I'm just some dude on the internet. So the last few exercises that I do is I would do my Romanian deadlifts with a barbell. I did these at a higher rep because I would do those for 3 sets. I did it at a higher rep because I was doing those other Romanian deadlifts at a lower rep range. So I do these at a higher rep range. And I kind of feel like maybe this is what added to some of my back pain is I was doing these. I was standing on some other plates so that way I could get more range of motion out of it. But I think what I was doing was I was just involving a lot of lower back into it, not even getting a lot of hamstring out of it. It's a hamstring exercise. It's not a lower back exercise. So if I was planning to do those and target my back, I should have been doing those with the lighter weight to target my back, but I was doing them in a way that I think involved a lot more lower back than I should have been doing at that point in time. I didn't get injured out of it, but I just kind of built up a certain amount of pain out of it that I didn't address until I absolutely had to address it, which set me back of doing certain exercises, stopped my progress on certain exercises, but it didn't ultimately stop me from progressing overall. But I kind of set myself back, and I had to take some weight off the bar for certain exercises and kind of learn what my body was trying to tell me. The very last thing I would do is a hamstring curl with bands, 2 to 3 sets, 15 to 20 reps. This is using bands is okay because I'm at home. Bands, the tension that you get on them it's a very weird. I'm not a science guy, so I don't know exactly how to say it. The tension curve, I really don't know what words I'm looking for here, but whenever you are completely flexed and you're completely pulling with your hamstring, the band is pulling at its most. Whenever you're actually going through the eccentric and the concentric, the point where there's the least amount of tension is on a band is where you're going to get the most amount of muscle growth. And so that kind of sucks because you're not getting the most tension until you're fully flexed with a band. So that's something that sucks, but we're working out at home. And so I'm still going to do that exercise because that is still something that is going to help strengthen me overall. It's still something that I'm going to do as well. Sometimes you probably don't even need, or for a lot of people, you don't even need to do like 4 exercises a week for your hamstrings. A lot of people can still get a lot of growth. I was just doing it because I was able to do it. So I do 4 or so exercises now, and I'm still perfectly fine. Not a ton of sets, but I still do 4 exercises perfectly fine with my hamstrings. So the very last thing that I would do for my workout for this workout split that I was doing is I would do my neck curls. I would do neck curls 3 to 5 sets, 15 to 20 reps, and I would do stability ball crunch 3 to 5 sets, 15 to 20 reps. So once again, I would add my neck curls somewhere in there where I could do a superset, even like barbell squats. I could have done it. I could have done it with my hamstring curls. I could have done it with my Romanian deadlifts. Doing neck curls does not affect any other part of your body. Maybe if you're doing squats, I can see because it's resting right below your neck. It's resting on your back. And so I could see where maybe you would get a little bit tired from that. But it's still something that's doable. I don't do it now. And so maybe I'm not the best person to speak on that and to say you could just add it there. But I can see where you would be able to add it there and it shouldn't give you a lot of issues. And my stability ball crunch, I could have done that with another exercise. Or if I was going to leave my stability ball crunch alone, take away those neck curls out of that superset, I could have done some forearm work, some other things like that. So that's basically this program. I'm going to leave it in the description. This is actually the program that if you guys follow me on Instagram, I said if you wanted to DM me, I would send you this program. This is that program. So if you follow me on Instagram and you're coming over here to my YouTube to check it out, you're actually going to get this program without having to DM me or anything like that. This is that complete program. You can implement some of these things that I've talked about to change up the program to what I feel like is get a little bit better, get a little bit more out of it now that I know a little bit more after 1.5 to 2 years after making this program. You'll be able to get a lot more out of it, I would say. But keep in mind too, I would change the program to what your needs are. If you don't like a particular exercise, you can switch it in there. If you don't do any of these exercises or there's some exercises in here that you don't enjoy, give them a try, run them for a little bit. And by a try, I mean like run them for 2-3 months to actually give them a full good go at it. If you don't do any barbell back squats because of pain issues, other things like that, I totally understand that. Doing leg press instead is fine. Doing hack squats is fine. In bodybuilding, we don't have to do a particular exercise. I'm glad that I can do barbell squats now. I can do deadlifts again. I've been doing deadlifts again for a few weeks because I feel like there's certain exercises that for my goals is better for me to do. But for whatever your goals are, you can still build muscle without doing these particular exercises. So if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know. Leave me a comment down below of maybe what you would change. If this program was a complete waste of my time, let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed the program and think you're going to run it yourself, let me know down below as well. I'm going to be coming out with some more YouTube content. I'm going to do just kind of a breakdown of calves, of how, maybe a few other implementations that I've been doing to try and grow my calves. My calves have been stalled out for a little bit now. And so now that I'm able to do some other exercises, I feel like I can also focus on calves a little bit more. I'm trying to get them, they're only at 15 inches now. I'm kind of working on trying to get them to 16 inches and kind of see where we can go from there. I have a very short calf insertion. I have very long legs, a very long shin bone. And so I don't have the biggest calf muscle bellies to really fill out, but that's still something that's doable. I can still add muscle there. It's just going to be a little bit harder for me, but everything with training is going to be harder. And we just have to see where we can implement things. So leave me a comment down below of what you guys thought of this. I'll be coming out with some more stuff soon, and I will talk to you guys in a little bit.